Novak Djokovic has so many records. It's so impressive, everything that he has done.
The world number one reigns supreme.
Well, there's so much to love about this young man's game.
I think the guy's an animal.
The humility.
The great Roger Federer.
And you could play a music ballad in line with his playing and it would match very well. Beautiful to watch.
This is prime time tennis and it's on prime time TV.
To be the year-end number one on 6 occasions, consecutive occasions, is extraordinary.
The competitive spirit of John McEnroe is second to none.
Oh, the legendary John McEnroe.
Novak Djokovic wins a record-breaking.
It's Djokovic who dominates.
There's no stopping Novak Djokovic this season.
Novak's record is probably unbeatable.
It's so impressive, everything that he has done. To be able to finish the year 7 times as the number one player in the world and also being the player who has been ranked the longest number one is just an incredible achievement.
And he is one of those guys, again, when it gets down to the critical points, especially tiebreakers, he just locks down and makes it very difficult for his opponent to try to win a big situation like that.
Pete Sampras was the one who was trying to really get that record to finish the year number one. Novak got it to another level. I mean, he dominated the tour for many generations, actually. He doesn't look like somebody who is ready to drop that race yet, so I'm sure that he's going to get a lot more weeks at number one.
I think he's an example for all sports people. I think a lot of people has a lot of things to learn from Novak, the way he has approached his career.
Federer's resurgent season gets better and better.
For Roger, basically being number one throughout 2 or 3 generations of players, it only shows you how special he was.
He took the game to another level. He really did.
When you look at Federer when he burst onto the scene, you obviously saw this amazingly gifted tennis player. There's a massive amount of hard work and effort that goes in off the court, in the gym, doing your injury prevention work. That sort of platform gave him the longevity in the sport.
And to hold that position for such a long time is just remarkable. I mean, I think his dominance is something that every tennis fan will always remember.
And it's Sampras who takes the acclamation.
Sampras wins it. He's still the number one player.
The greatest player of the era that I played in who held the records when he retired, of course, was Pete Sampras. To be the year-end number one on 6 occasions, consecutive occasions, is extraordinary to think that you can do that. His dominance on hard court, fast court, grass court really stood out.
For Pete to finish number one, like I said, more than 6 times, 6 years, you got to eat, sleep, breathe tennis, and that's something that Pete did.
Sampras is 6-time year-end world number one ranking. What an incredible feat. The record previous to that was Jimmy Connors, who did it on 5 occasions. But for Sampras to break that record, it'll never be broken by Federer, Nadal, or Novak Djokovic.
But as we've seen all tournament, when the pressure is on, Alcaraz plays his best.
One thing that impresses me is the fact that we saw him become a Grand Slam champion and number one in the world as a teenager, but he's still continuing to look to improve.
Well, Carlos is one of the great explosive movers.
Oh, he's got it!
I think the guy's an animal.
He's so impressive, he's so athletic, unbelievable power.
Alcaraz, he's the modern day Rafa, but in his own right, he's building his own name, his own brand.
But what also is so much fun to watch him is that he really plays with a smile on his face. He brings out this enormous energy.
Every match he plays, he learns a little bit here or there.
Getting to number one in such a small period of time, it's something that needs to be analyzed properly because it is not normal.
Yeah, he's got it all. Carlos Alcaraz, every single shot in the book.
He's already have won the Grand Slam, he's already have received the number one spot. I really expect him to be one of the absolute top players and dominating the game for many years in front of us.
Never stops fighting, never stops believing, never gave up on the dream.
So John McEnroe's record of being number one 14 different times is incredible.
Think about this for a moment. We talk about the number one ranking in singles, but in days gone by, there were players who were able to be number one in both. John McEnroe is the one that stands out to me.
Yeah, John was probably the last really good player that plays singles and doubles. Instead of practicing after a match, he'd play a doubles match, and that would be his practice. He was so difficult to play against in singles. He had great control and understood the game really well.
But the competitive spirit of John McEnroe is second to none to me.
Having dominated singles for a period of time, but at that time also coming out and being the world number one in doubles.
We felt that competitive spirit, and we've seen that competitive spirit later on the ATP Senior Tour, later the ATP Champions Tour, and I mean, he has easily the most titles on the ATP Champions Tour, and again, the competitive nature of John McEnroe is still visible as a commentator and as a tennis pundit.